Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth, the Education Coordinator for Marlene's Market and Deli. This afternoon's special chef that we have with us, one of our staple chefs, Abbie Cates. We are so appreciative for her to be with us today, and everyone who is tuning in. And Abbie, take the live stream floor.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Elizabeth, and thank you everyone for being here. Like Elizabeth said, this is totally interactive. So if you guys want to interrupt me, just unmute and start talking. You will not offend me at all. In fact, it adds a lot to the class when you ask the questions. Or if you're not comfortable turning your microphone on, then type in the chat. I can see that there's something on my screen right now, but I can't get to it to deal with it. So if I don't answer your question right away, Elizabeth will just interrupt me and we'll keep going and get your conversation included in, because I really believe that I have a plan that I'm going to share with you, but your perspective and the things you're dealing with in your kitchen questions are really going to build the class and make it better. So with no further ado, here we go. Actually, before I get started, though, I want to grab something from the freezer because I'm going to do a demonstration. So I have a bag of frozen ground beef here. You'll see it's super thin. It's a pound. I cooked it and then didn't season it, did nothing to it, but put it in the freezer. So we're talking about meal planning today and how to save dinner. That's fine, sure, thank you. How to save dinner when maybe the planning didn't happen. That'll be the second part. So the first part we're chatting about is some meal planning, and when the class is done, I'll load a meal plan and all the recipes. We're going to do 6 recipes today that I use during the class. I'll load them into the chat along with my email address. So if you guys have questions, feel free to reach out to me. But this hamburger is all about how to save dinner in case, like it happens in our house, you don't actually plan sometimes. So this is super thin for a reason. And I'm going to just put it in some water right now so it can thaw. And at the end of the, hour, 40 minutes, 26 minutes, who knows how long it's going to take. We're going to go with the flow. It's going to be as long as you guys need. Let's see how thawed this is, because my theory is that, let's say you have, you go to Costco, you buy a boatload of ground beef, you freeze it in 1 pound increments, and then you come home from work and you have that like, moment. And you throw one of these, if you have a small family, 1 bag. If you have a larger family, maybe 2 or 3 bags. Throw it in the water, and then start unloading the car and starting a little laundry, whatever your come home after the end of the day chores and tasks are. When you're done with them, my theory is that this will be ready for you to add seasoning to. So let's put it in the water. Let's see what happens. And then at the end of the class, the very last thing we'll do is check this meat out and also talk about, okay, so now you got a pound of ground beef. What are you going to do with it? So here we go. We put it in water. It's actually off camera. And I picked, of course, a water container here. Let me show you what I'm doing. I just picked a Pyrex because, that was my brilliant idea. And guess what? It doesn't fit very well. So we're going to get creative, and let's hope the bag doesn't leak. And we're just going to put it in there. And I'll put it over here. I do have 2 little helpers in the kitchen with me right now. They're actually not participating in this class, but if you guys have seen my classes before, you know that I believe in kids in the kitchen. So they're sitting here. I think they actually won. Here's one. I think they actually want help, so maybe we'll include them in later. Okay, but here's the deal. Today, we're going to do a little bit more chit chat about my personal meal planning philosophy. And then at the end, we'll do a demonstration of actually making 6 recipes. They are deviled chicken, a very spicy chicken, fresh herb chicken, a Monterey chicken, an orange tarragon chicken, a slow cooker white chicken chili, and a Parmesan chicken. Whoa, a lot of chicken. We'll talk about why I did that in a minute. And then I'll show you how I prep the meals so you can have a little bit more ease in the evening since the meals are taken care of. And then at the end, I will also go back and share with you some tips in case you didn't have the opportunity to prep, because hello, that's the reality of my world someday. It doesn't always happen. Or I have these great plans, like I marinate meat and then I get home and realize it's still in the freezer. and that makes it kind of hard to take and cook. So we are going to first talk about why. Why do I believe in meal planning and meal prep? And it's pretty straightforward for me. It's not really complex. One of the reasons is I have 3 small children. They're not actually that little anymore. I can pretend they are, but they're not. So they're big enough to have real personalities, which if you know me, should be no surprise. And when I do the meal prep and planning, I involve them in the process. So I will get a cookbook out and have them flip through it with me and read, so they can say, yes, I like that. No, I don't want that. And that allows them to have some buy-in into the process, so that when dinner time comes, they're more likely to eat it, because sometimes it's hard to get food down them. The other thing that I believe in is a little bit of time invested on a Sunday afternoon can save you a whole bunch of time all week long. So I was talking to Elizabeth before class start. I think I spent probably, I have a whole bunch of stuff we can't see here. There's 2 meals in front of us, and I have a whole bunch over here that we'll see as the class goes on. Probably, 45 minutes or so before the class started, getting everything prepped. And I prepped like you wouldn't normally prep at home, because I put everything in individual bowls so we could talk through what we were doing. You wouldn't necessarily do this at home. You may, but my prep took a little longer than it would in your home kitchen. So I would say within an hour and 15 minutes, you can have these 6 chicken dishes made, and that's time that you don't have to do it after work or after school or whatever in the evening. And also, just for another reason I do this is budgeting, because particularly the prices of meats have gone up a lot over the past year. And so if I can plan my meals ahead of time, I can use those higher price items more effectively. And so we're doing 6 recipes. Each recipe is written for 2 people, but during the class, I decided to double it. So I'll be making recipes, 4-person recipes. And my total for all the food my like grocery shopping was just under $100. I did go a little bit crazy at Safeway and bought some like really cool these things that I've never seen before. Check this out. This is a Kawano melon. So part of that money did go on things like this that aren't part of our meal prep plan, but we wanted to try some exotic foods. So that was in there too. So for about $100, we'll have 6 4-person meals that also, the way I'm going to prep them and show you, if I don't eat them this week, it's no biggie, because they can go right in the freezer, and they are all freezer compatible and can cook from frozen. So I try to build into my recipe planning meals that are not only, watch out, sweetheart, this is on wheels. Meals that are not only easy to prep, but if they don't get cooked, they don't lose their flavor because they can freeze. And then we'll also have some of those other things at the end, like how to make dinner in an emergency when you haven't prepped with just the food that's in your fridge. So saving time, saving money, oh my gosh, saving my sanity. That's the biggest reason that we do this meal prep stuff. So how? That's the next thing I'm going to talk about before I get into demonstrating for you. The how is really focusing on common ingredients. So yes, these recipes do all have chicken in them, and chicken is super old eating it 6 days in a row. But there's also things that you can do if you want to put it on a salad instead of eat it plain, or if you want to cook it and save it for a few days. You know, you don't have to eat all of these in the same week, but it does mean that I just bought 2 big flats of chicken breasts, and the breasts were huge. So I sliced them in half. And so I don't have to worry about any other meat. It's just that simple. So that's why I chose all chicken, because there's the common ingredient there. And then you'll also see used throughout these recipes tarragon, thyme, sour cream, lemon juice, green chilies, and onions. So they're kind of unique ingredients, but I picked the recipes because they're common through all of them. So that's one of the things that I work to look at, is what is that commonality in ingredients. And then the other thing is, one of these recipes, the last one I do, is one of our family favorites. If you guys are familiar, when I had the knife fork spoon business, there was a Parmesan cod. I'm going to share with you that Parmesan topping recipe today. And the recipe I've written is a 2-person for chicken recipe, but I've quadrupled the recipe for this class because I want to have extra. You can put it on your potatoes. You can mix it into your macaroni and cheese. You can put it on top of your broccoli. There's so much that you can do with this Parmesan topping that even if you don't eat the chicken this week, that topping can be used for other things. So I look at recipes that have mix and match topping capabilities. And like I'm doing, I've doubled up the servings. So I'll have well, for my family, I won't have extra, but if you know that you really like, let's say, the slow cooker white chicken chili, make 3 of it and throw it in the freezer or put it in little jars and take it to work during the week. So making extra also helps for meal planning. And then there's also the really fun part of when you're using in that last minute planning because you didn't actually plan. We'll still call that planning, and just so, for the sake of argument. Just getting creative, mixing things together because they can have a great outcome. Okay, guys, I'm gonna start cooking, so step to the side, please. I'd like some space. I'm not ready to have help right now. Okay, so you don't need to drink lemon juice right now. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna do is, and these recipes will be posted after the class. I did find some typos in them, so I'll tell you the typos as we go through, just so you can be aware. And I'll do my best to complete that. But here we go. The first one we're going to make is deviled chicken. So one of the things I have done is I've prepped all of the chicken ahead of time. And I actually have it in these, let me show you here. They walk over. These handy dandy little oven safe and freezer safe and microwave safe containers. So I'm going to make all the toppings. Like for this deviled chicken, I'm actually going to mix it up in this bowl. And then I'll pour the toppings between the 2 containers. And then they'll be in the fridge. I take the top off. And then before you put them in the oven or the microwave, stop. And then I will have them ready to go. If you're I'm in Port Orchard. If you guys are in the Port Orchard area, or you're even in Tacoma, wherever, and you want some of these, I have a boatload of them. Just send me an email and we'll connect and I can get some to you. I think that you can get them on Amazon, but I have a bunch left over from when I was doing a retail business. So I'm happy to give some to you. If you want, let me know. So let's get right in to this deviled chicken. So the recipes are chicken breast, yellow mustard. For recipe continuity, I actually did Dijon mustard in this recipe. Sour cream, black pepper, hot sauce, lemon juice, garlic, thyme, and salt. So what I intend to do here is I have a little bit of mess. All right, welcome to the kitchen. I have the sour cream and the mustard here, and I'm just going to add the other ingredients. So this is called deviled chicken not because it's necessarily like a deviled egg, but because, excuse me, it's super spicy. So check out the amount of black pepper. I need to drink water. Hold on. Check out the amount of black pepper. The recipe actually calls for 1 tablespoon of black. I almost just spilled it everywhere of black pepper. Let's see if I can do this without spilling it. So doubling the recipe means there's 2 tablespoons of black pepper here. 2 tablespoons, a lot of black pepper. It is spicy. And then we add some hot sauce to it. Ooh, see if I can do this without spilling. So it has real kick. Tone down the black pepper if you don't want to burn your hair off your teeth. I really like spicy food. And this is really spicy, but my kids don't like it. So I've actually toned it down for this recipe. So I am going to mix here. The salt and pepper goes in, and we are going to add the hot sauce in, and you'll see that I'm just mixing it all right here in this one little bowl. And then we've got some lemon juice that's going in, and we've got some garlic and thyme. I prefer the minced garlic. You can get it at the grocery store, you can get it at Costco. It's pre-minced. It's pre-minced, so you guys can see it's preserved in citric acid. There are some that have other preservatives, but I really prefer the ones that are citric acid and water. Major time saver in the kitchen. You don't have to peel and crush the garlic. It has a great flavor. And then you'll also see I use the fresh thyme in there. Thyme's also in the next recipe we're gonna do. So I'm just gonna plop all of this stuff into the bowl here. And it's super spicy. It's like black red color. It's definitely a different kind of color than you would normally see. So it's going to be basically kind of like a marinade. You can take and you can take your chicken and roll it in it before you put it in the fridge, or you can pour it over it. Choice is totally yours. How much spice do I have in there? Like, I'm going to soak this stuff up with my chicken breasts, and then I'll have to wash my hands super fast. And so what you can see here is that I have a little bit extra. So if you wanted to throw, you know, say you had another extra chicken breast laying around, you could just dip another one in them and pour a little extra over the top. And then, so here, one meal complete. Let me go wash my hands super quick. Oh, and while I'm over here washing my hands, I'm gonna flip over my meat since half of it wasn't in the water. Okay, so there we go. That was the deviled chicken. I'm gonna put the lids on it. That was all. Cheers, Charlotte. That was all. So there we go. There's one meal complete. That was all for the deviled chicken. Hey, please don't remove it because it's spicy. Remember we talked about that. It could totally burn your mouth. So spicy. So there's the deviled chicken. The next one we're gonna work on is fresh herb chicken. So let me get more chicken. And again, go ahead and wash your hands. So again, I got it portioned out to, well, it's actually one breast per container, but they were huge breasts. So cut them in half. And this recipe is olive oil, water, oregano, thyme, tarragon, lemon juice. This recipe has a typo. It says a half tablespoon of lemon juice, then the next line is 1/2 teaspoon of lemon juice. They're the same. So just ignore one of them. Garlic, salt, tiny bit of sugar, and black pepper. So what I did actually, just like in that last recipe, I have one bowl that I'm starting in. So I'm mixing this in this bowl. Come on, go ahead and go get a fork. You can help. This has the olive oil and the water in it already. I'm gonna just pour the lemon juice in, and then here in this bowl, let me walk this closer to you. I'm gonna have Charlotte's gonna be our helper. She really enjoys helping, and maybe just let her help too. She can. Charlotte's gonna be the mixer here. But here in this bowl, you'll see that I have the salt, the pepper, the garlic, all of the different herbs. So they're, whoa, it's dancing right out of the bowl. So the thyme, the oregano, and the tarragon is in here, along with the garlic. So fun fact, I really like to go a little bit overboard with my herbs because I think that they add fabulous flavor. Go ahead and mix that in. Tarragon is one of those, and then use your fork and just stir it around gently. Tarragon is one of those that I would not go over through. It's very strong, whether it's fresh or dried. I'm using all fresh herbs here. So it can really overpower a dish on any level. So, okay. So feel free to go crazy and know that it has a strong. Okay, so Celeste and Charlotte are stirring this up. And then why don't you, Celeste, pour half and Charlotte pour half on that. Okay, so let's pour half and remove my drinks. You pour half on. Okay, go ahead and pour some on. And pour some on. If you're happy with your Celeste, go ahead and put the lid on. and you can walk it over and show everybody. So this is a super simple way if you do have children to get them involved. And put your lid on, Sharon, and show everybody. And in our kitchen at home, I actually put the organic ingredients because they have full aptitude in doing that. And it doesn't take long. Good job, ladies. Let's put those over here. It doesn't take long for them to learn those skills. We're very good at it. Elizabeth and I were talking before the class started. It was a year ago that all the classes I did were focused on kids and bringing kids into the kitchen. And in the past year, my kids have developed so many kitchen skills that it's realistic for them to make a meal like this, where it's just slicing herbs and measuring out dry ingredients. They could do that on their own. So feel free to invite your kids into the kitchen. Or if you have questions, let me know. I'm happy to tell you how I include these little people in the kitchen. All right, the next one we're gonna make is called Monterey chicken. So this is, it's got a Monterey Jack cheese on it. It's got seasoning, salt, green chilies, and onions, and that is it. Super simple. Again, let me grab my chicken. You guys can each do one of these. So this is actually one I'll have the girls do from start to finish. Celeste, come over here. Go ahead and take your lids off. And the first thing I'm gonna do is season the chicken. They can just do your hands. Okay, no. They're gonna take and sprinkle seasoning salt over the chicken. Not too much, just a little bit. You'll see that for all of these recipes, I use Johnny's seasoning salt. Particularly, this island's rolling. I'm sure it has breaks, but I can't find it. So it's hilarious because the girls kept rolling it on me and now I'm rolling it on them. So if they tell me to stop moving the table, it's just because I told them that too. So Johnny's seasoning salt, stop moving the table. Yeah, stop moving the table. Johnny's seasoning salt is the deal breaker or deal maker for the Parmesan sauce. Okay, this is salt. You don't want it too much. But it really adds a ton of flavor to other recipes. So when my meals, my recipes say like Johnny's seasoning salt, it says it for a reason because I've tried about 20 of them, and this is the best one. They have a whole bunch of new varieties with Johnny line, so I encourage them to experiment. But if I call it out by name, I call it out by name for a reason, just so you know. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to take, this is a can of green peppers, green chilies, got a little spice to them. So the recipe calls for an 1/4 cup per serving. So the girls are each gonna have a spoon, and you will share this cup and put it on top of your chicken breast. And you can use all of that up between the two of you. Every meal's got to have a spice to it. Celeste just said. Okay, so are you done with that? You put enough in? You feel happy with that? Okay, so the next thing, nope, we're not done yet. So now there's a little bit of onion here. The recipe calls for an 1/8 cup of onion. There's a little bit of about a 1/4 cup here. So go ahead and share that, girls. Half on each of your chickens. Whoops. You're done? You're happy with yours? Okay. And the last thing we're going to do is sprinkle. So this is the Monterey Jack cheese. Pepper jack adds great little flavor to go with the chicken. So go ahead and sprinkle as much cheese on that as you want. You know, I normally wouldn't have like kids sticking their hand in the bag of cheese, just because I like to maintain some cleanliness in the kitchen. But you know, in this case, we're gonna go with it because I do know that they wash the hands. Oh, look at that! You're all done. You want to put your lid on and go show everybody what you made? You want to show first? Okay. Go ahead, Charlotte. Go ahead and share. So there you go. There's the Monterey chicken. That was certainly easy. Okay, put it in our pile over here. Okay, now the next thing we're gonna make is orange tarragon chicken. So this was a complete accident. This is where one of those beautiful recipes that it happens because it totally was meant to, and you had no idea you were doing it. So this is, believe it or not, a marinade with a sour cream base. And so it is sour cream with Dijon mustard, lemon juice, tarragon, orange zest, black pepper, and salt mixed in. And so what I'm gonna have the girls do, it looks like Charlotte's all over. She's getting some chicken out. It's too sweet. You got two. Awesome. So I'm gonna give them each like one bowl that they'll mix together again, and they will pour it over. So this is another one of those meals that the tarragon is strong, but it's okay to go a little bit overboard because the sour cream really mutes everything, and the orange zest adds a great flavor. So here we go. Here, ladies, you can each have a spatula.
I want the big one.
Okay, well, let's actually only one person needs to mix it once, so we'll take some time, take turns. So we have sour cream. Celeste, why don't you help Charlotte pour the mustard in?
Grab your spatula and pour the mustard in.
And this will make extra marinade. I went a little crazy. I doubled the recipe, but I really didn't need to for this one. So this can go on extra chicken if you have it, or actually if you wanted to, you could just put it in the freezer and save it, and then thaw it out and throw the chicken in it when you bake it. Because cooking the bacon, you can put the lemon juice in. Cooking the bacon, we're not done baking here, but bacon is delicious. Then bacon might be good with this. Baking the chicken with the sour cream marinade on it keeps it very moist, so it doesn't dry out. So you are welcome to walk over and get one. No, you don't need that. So this is one that if there is extra marinade, you can just save it. And yeah, it'll be a little bit different when it comes out of freezer or the fridge, because sour cream is one of those things that has consistency can change, but baked in the oven, it doesn't care. So we've got a whole big pile here, and we're going to now, this is our mixture of herbs and lemon zest or orange zest and salt and pepper. So we'll have the girls add this in. If you need help stirring this, you don't make a mess, I'm happy to help. You want to help? Okay. So we'll just have to, no, it's not a big enough bowl. You are correct. I could definitely have done a bigger bowl. So we'll just mix it up really nice. I was gonna ask Celeste how it smells. Maybe there's a lot of black pepper in there for her. How's it smell? Can you smell the orange and tarragon? Not your favorite, or what's that face about?
Smells good.
Well, you weren't supposed to stick your tongue in it. I certainly hope you didn't. Okay, so this is super full, so let me help you pour. So we're just gonna actually pour this right over it. And we're gonna use all of it because that's just what we're gonna do. More over that chicken. Okay, so Charlotte thinks I need to spread hers out differently. So Celeste, if you're happy with yours, put your lid on and Charlotte, we did.
Yeah.
Okay, while they're showing you, I'm gonna get the spatulas clean because we're gonna need for this meal. And Charlotte, why don't you get out the chicken that's diced? Yeah, we need 2 of those.
2 diced ones?
Yep. Good job, Celeste. And you know,
Hey!
um,
You showed me now.
food is really beautiful, and I love the element of real food and how beauty there is in real food. So okay, hold on, like that. Slow down. That orange tarragon chicken is definitely brown kind of color to it because of the mustard and the black pepper. But I think that we're so used to seeing beautiful food pictures, and food photography is one of the hardest photographies you can ever imagine. And none of those foods in those pictures you see are sometimes real. Sometimes it's like glue instead of milk, and that sort of thing. So know that the food that you're making and the colors that come out of it, even if they're a little bit more muted and not quite as bright as you'd expect, that is beautiful because it's real food and you're nourishing your body with that real food. So next real food recipe we're going to do is slow cooker white chicken chili. So for full disclosure, this was the most time intensive meal to prep for the day because the chicken had to be diced. The onion had to be diced. It has chicken broth, it has water, it has coconut cream, it has green chilies, and it has spices, and it has beans. So it did take more time because rinsing the beans and slicing up and dicing the onions.
Ovens.
Silly.
How do you dice ovens?
How do you dice an oven? I don't know.
With a welder.
With a welder, yes.
I mean,
So this one does take more time, but it also is one that you can just double it or triple it or quadruple it or whatever you want and throw it in the crock pot and let it sit all day. And then when it's done, you can freeze it and you have meals for as long as you need. So we are going to actually have the girls mix. We're living on the edge here. I might help you. We're going to see how this one goes because you might not have a lot of space. Totally remember one of these containers. We are going to we're going to pause on this one. Okay, we're going to do this one next, girls. This is the Parmesan chicken, and I'm going to mix this one up, girls. So this is a family favorite. I'm going to mix this one up. And this recipe is, please stop getting your faces in there. It is Parmesan cheese, sour cream, butter, lemon juice, Johnny's, and pepper. I'm going to mix it in here because I made a whole bunch extra on purpose because I'm going to freeze that in a separate container or refrigerate it. It's good for months in the freezer, about 3 weeks in the fridge, because we're going to put on potatoes and broccoli and all these other amazing things. So I intentionally am going to make extra here. The trick is my butter. I don't know if it's actually soft enough for me to do this whole recipe for you guys on camera because I forgot to pull it out of the fridge. So with as warm as it's been lately, it should be soft. You know, our butter dish, no, you don't need to feel it. Our butter dish at home has like soggy butter in it, but I don't think I have soggy butter today. So we're just going to see what happens. And if push comes to shove, I'll mix it up later. You guys will still have the recipe to make on your own. So I'm adding the butter, and the sour cream, and the lemon juice, and the Johnny's and the black pepper. And then we're gonna see if, oh, it's totally too hard. Okay, so normally this would be nice and soft at room temperature, and you know, with it being 5,000 degrees out these days, room temperature is a lot warmer than it is in the winter. So you could just mix this up really nicely and easily, and it turns into a super thick, really creamy, just dairy delight. And you can take, and I use actually a cookie baller, you know, that you make cookies with when you put them on the tray before you bake them. And I use a cookie baller. I have a couple different size ones at home, and I usually pick the medium-sized one, and I use the cookie baller and plop it right on top of the chicken breast. And then as the Parmesan and the butter melts, it just goes out over top of the whole breast, and then what's left in the bottom of the pan gets nice and crispy and is delicious. So let's see, this might be mixing up a little bit better than I thought. Do you want to get the chicken?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them has 3 breasts in it and one of them has 2.
I want to see breast.
Always have to have more. So let's see if I can get this mixed up enough. And you can see it's not mixed all the way, but it's got this delightful, I used actual shredded Parmesan. I didn't use the Parmesan shaker like we put on our spaghetti. Just use the shredded Parmesan. You are welcome to shred it yourself if you want. And then just keep mixing it up, and it turns into this beautiful orange, like super light orange, creamy Parmesan delight. So go ahead and can you help take the lids off for us? You can do it? Okay. You did it last time? Oh, good job.
See it? I got the 3 breasts. I got the 2 breasts.
Okay. I don't have all the butter quite
Just
broken
go
up.
stomp.
Just go stomp. That's right. Just use brute force. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep mixing it. Why? It is a kind of a pink color. What do you think makes it that pink color?
Butter.
The butter? No.
The sauce.
The
The orange sauce.
The orange sauce, because the Giants have paprika in it, so that's what actually gives it this color. So this is not perfect, but I'm gonna get a spoon and generous tablespoons, tablespoon and a half on top of each breast is awesome. And then what's extra, I'm gonna keep. Can we rearrange everything here? So I'm just gonna take and, it's a super generous tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons. Plop it right on there. I'm careful not to touch the chicken because we have this going back into the fridge for other dishes, and I do not want uncooked chicken in my Parmesan sauce. That would be not ideal.
Smooth it around.
No, you don't need to smooth it around. You just put the lid on. It'll flatten eyes.
Thank you for the Parmesan.
So there you go. That is Parmesan chicken. And now this, you can take the extra Parmesan sauce. That's noisy. Charlotte's going to show it to you.
Move the ball.
Oh, move the bowl. Pardon me. There you go. There's the Parmesan chicken. The extra sauce you can mix right into macaroni and cheese, or you can put it on top of roasted, when you're roasting the potatoes. Excellent job. Okay, go ahead and put it over.
Slide in, Mommy.
You can put on top of the potatoes when you are baking them, or after the broccoli comes out of the steamer or the oven. Go ahead and put this on top. So a ton of flexibility with this. That's why I made extra, and it's a major hit in my house. So now I have the girls. I'm not gonna. No, that was crazy. No crazy kids. Okay, girls, please step aside. I'm gonna do this one because it's gonna be overflowing. So. No, it's going to be overflowing. I'm going to do this one, okay? So if you guys have seen my cooking classes with kids, you'll know that I firmly believe that it is okay to kick them out of the kitchen sometimes when you need a little sanity and a little space. So now is one of those moments. Hit the road. You can watch. So this recipe is missing. Here it is. It has beans. I had a little bit less chicken in this one, so I'm going to go for this. It has beans. Okay, I'm delusional. This isn't gonna fit. So I'm gonna show you the ingredients and I'll take care of this, mixing this up later. It has beans. It has onion. It has broth and water. And coconut cream. So it's a white, white chicken chili, but it has a really light coconut flavor, so it is amazing. Remind me in a second to tell you about the coconut cream. It has green chilies, and it has spices. So this is one of those dishes that you literally can just dump it together. So it's very fast if you have everything prepared. So speaking of the coconut cream, these come in the 12 or 14 ounce cans. And we only need a 1/4 cup for this recipe. So what you can do with that extra is put it in an ice cube container and freeze it. So when you need, and you'll need to do some experimenting because every ice cube tray container is different. But I know that for mine, it's about 2 tablespoons per little hole. So if I need a 1/4 cup, I'll just pull 2 of those cubes out and I have it. And if it's frozen and I throw it right in the pot, it'll melt as it cooks. So coconut cream is one of those things that when you need it, but you don't use it a lot. At least that's how it works in my house. So that's a way to save it so it doesn't go to waste. So with the exception of the fact that my eyeballs were not properly calibrated for my containers, that was 6 meals in what? Like, looking at the clock, about a half an hour. So there's one in the microwave right there. So it is pretty quick to be able to plan your meals ahead of time on the weekend, so the week is easier. But let's say, because, well, it doesn't always happen, And in my house, it doesn't always happen. Or I have the best intention and I forget to take it out of the freezer, or I forget to do whatever. So let's say that you get home and dinner's not made. Well, here, it's been about 40 minutes. Excuse me, Charlotte. And I've got this bag over here. And this was the cooked ground beef. I put it in cool water, so it definitely is not warm at all, but it is soft. So now that I have defrosted beef, let's say 40 minutes, I could have gotten the kids out of the car, gotten a little laundry packed, cleaned up the house a little bit when we got home after school, and now I'm ready. With this, you can do your traditional taco, where you just put taco seasoning. No, from this, I'd go right to the stove. You can put taco seasoning in it, you can do burritos, you can do enchiladas, you can do salad, but that's not the end of ground beef. Ground beef has so much flexibility. I'll dig the recipe out and post it also when I post all the other ones. Yes, stop messing with it. You can turn this into a Korean beef by adding just a different, please stop, by adding different seasonings. So you add a sesame oil instead of an olive oil. You add ginger, you add red pepper, and suddenly it has a whole new flavor palette. So you could do a spicy Asian Korean beef. You could make it into a sloppy Joe. And all of these things you can do with rice, or you could do them with a salad, or you could do them with bread. There's a ton of flexibility for each of these dishes. So having your pounds of ground beef frozen flat in the freezer is one way to save the day in case you have not had meal planning front and center on your brain. The other thing that you can do is with some of these meals, like the orange tarragon chicken, we have, that's in a marinade. And let's say that you like this dish and you want to make extra, put it in the freezer and have your marinated meat in the marinade in the freezer. And then some of them can actually cook in the marinated from frozen. So you don't have to think about it. You'll need to increase your cooking time, but you can just do about 375 degrees or so, add 10 or 15 more minutes, check the temperature regularly to make sure, one, that it's cooked fully, and two, that it's not dry. But there are some marinades that are forgiving enough you can actually cook in them. So if you have questions about that, give me a holler, because I have experimented with that, and there are some that work awful, and I highly recommend you don't cook in them. Like if you use a soy sauce, they can get super, super salty. But there are some that work really well. So that is always an option. The other thing that my kids don't necessarily love, but I do, is when you open the vegetable drawer, now you have the ability to make magic salad. So you pull open that drawer and you realize, okay, I've got the meat covered and I can make a starch of some sort, whatever you want to have as that portion of your plate. But vegetables, last week I mixed cabbage, lettuce, green onion, yellow pepper, and put it with like a Mexican seasoning on some pork that went into the Instapot. And then I just did some cumin and oregano with olive oil and some vinegar on the vegetables, and the kids got a coleslaw and they actually liked it. Keep your finger away from the camera. I've got a little more who's peeking right in front of the camera. The other thing to do is that exact same flavor palette of vegetables. If you, instead of doing the cumin and the oregano, you can do something different with it. Put some different seasonings and like garlic and a ginger. And now it's going to pair greatly with the Korean beef that you made and the rice. And so that magic salad has a ton of flexibility, just depending on what seasonings you put with it. And you clean out the fridge. So I used, when I made it, I had literally like 1/8 of a head of cabbage left. There wasn't a lot left, but there was enough when I mixed it with the tiny bit of lettuce that was left and the quarter of the bell pepper and the green onion. And I sliced them super thin, so you get all the flavors mixed together beautifully in your mouth at once. Then it went and fed all of us with no problem. But the thing that you can do is, there's the magic salad idea, but let's say you've got some meat that needs to be used up too, turn it into soup, magic soup. So mix all that stuff together, throw it in the stove, and then in about half an hour, when it all cooks down, you've got magic soup. And they are some of the most delicious meals because the flavor's been blended beautifully, especially from the leftover perspective. So that is what I have to share with you today. That's my summary Like I said, I'll get the recipes posted and the meal plan posted. And I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have. And I also want to say thank you for stopping by and listening to our crazy make food in the kitchen. And thank you for supporting Marlene's, because Elizabeth and her crew down there is phenomenal.
Oh, and you are wonderful too, Abbie. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, let's say goodbye to our Facebook Live friends, and then we can open up the Zoom chat room.